everyone, and welcome to the New Author Podcast. Today is Sunday, June 16th, 2024. This is episode number 269. I am one of the hosts of this podcast, Jerry Evanoff. And with me, as he is, I'll bet you he's not sweating as much as I am right now, is Rich Kacy. Rich, what's your sweat level right now?
At the moment, it's almost zero because I've been
Oh,
in the house for a few hours. So if I was outside, it's pushing 90. It would be relatively high. It's really humid. It's been raining off and on. So,
sure, sure.
uh,
My house right now is around 90, and outside it's 87. So it's a fun
uh-oh,
one today. Oh
uh-oh.
yeah, it's a fun one.
That doesn't sound good at all.
It's not good at all. Yeah. When the furnace guy says to you on a Sunday morning, you're gonna have to tough it out for one night, and you really have to restrain to punch him in the face. Yeah. So anyway, I'll talk about that though because it's actually kind of a funny story. So, yeah. All right. I guess I'm gonna jump right into my stats unless you have anything you want to banter about. Do we want to banter?
Well, it came to my mind when I yelled action just before you pressed record, and a story popped into my head of the interaction between Harold Ramis and Rodney Dangerfield when they were filming Caddyshack. Rodney Dangerfield at that time, he had never done a movie or anything. It was his first time on set. And every time Rodney Dangerfield, or anytime it was ready for him to do his part, Harold Ramis would yell action, and Rodney Dangerfield would just stand there because he didn't know what action meant. And eventually, Harold Ramis had to say, "Okay, Rodney, it's time to do your bit." So throughout the whole film, every time it was time for Rodney Dangerfield, where he was supposed to do something, Harold Ramis had to say, "It's time to do your bit."
And it
Instead.
kind of makes sense because most of Rodney Dangerfield's parts in that movie are just him being a stand-up comedian.
Right. And apparently the very first scene with Rodney Dangerfield where he shows up into the pro shop,
Hmm.
I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yep. Oh yeah.
That whole thing, the whole thing was ad-libbed by Rodney Dangerfield. He
Really?
just yeah, he just burst in. Ramis said, "Just it's time to do your bit." He didn't have that, lines or anything. He just burst in and did his bit.
Oh my God. He says stuff like, "Nice hat. Oh, it looks good on you. I hope it
Yeah,
came with a bowl of soup." Oh, that's
that's
great.
right.
That's a
That
great.
and the bowl of soup especially was something that Rodney Dangerfield just came off his tongue. He didn't know where it came from.
That guy's
Just,
brilliant. Okay, good. I love talking about Caddyshack. It's one
uh,
of the best, funniest all-time movies.
yeah.
All right, so let me jump into my stats for last week. It's been an interesting week, or actually, really 6 days, because we did our last podcast on Monday, so we're 6 days from now. Books 2 and 3, again, no change to them. I'm not doing any editing on them until I get through 9. Book 4 is up this week, 4,898 words to 24,065. So not quite the 6,000 that I had for a goal. But I did have a couple of days where I assumed I was going to write when I was recording this podcast, and I completely forgot that I wasn't going to be writing. And I think if I would have had those 2 days, I would have probably blown by that number. So the goal, last week's goal of 6,000, was definitely a fail, but I'm calling it a successful fail because I wrote all those other days. It's just the 2 days I couldn't write or didn't write were a little bit out of my control, a little bit, because things were still in my control, but a lot out of my control. So,
Yeah. Well, I had a flat out fail. I don't know if you're
oh,
done. Are you done with your stats, or
I
it
mean,
seems
I
like
can
you're
talk
aiming for
about
30?
like for the year, I'm up to about 80,000 for the year.
Yeah.
So I'm about a third of the way to my 240,000 word goal. And then my word count dropped a little bit because one of my days I was editing and not writing. But other than that, yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, you had a successful fail. I was just a flat out fail.
Oh,
I did do some writing. Amelia Jones is up 2,925 words to 24,606. But I did also have that 6,000 word goal, which I shouldn't have done off the spur of the moment, like that
yes.
I did last week when you mentioned yours. So it was an obvious fail. I did manage to build 2 new gate frames for the driveway,
Oh,
so that was good. Hadn't expected to do that, but then of course I did absolutely nothing on the bathroom doors again. So it
how
was
many
it's
gate
kind of it
frames
was
do you
kind of
have
an
to
up and
build?
down. Two. The driveway is about 16 feet wide, I guess, something like that, or whatever. And so it's like uh, a swinging gate that opens in the center.
Okay.
So
Oh, okay. Okay. Right.
so I yeah, so I had to build the 2 frames because I have one on there, previous one I built, but it's been, I don't know, 15 years or so, so it's kind of rotted and sagged, and so I have to redo it.
Okay.
But that was good, and, they're sitting out there on my carport because of other things that I'll talk about. I didn't get a chance to actually put them up, and I may just leave them there for a while, but I kinda like the way they look. They look very professional.
Oh, okay.
So,
Nice. That's good.
yeah,
All right. I
yeah.
like that. Um, All right, so this week when I come up with my goal, then I'll do like 250 words. That way, if you want to go ahead and do spur of the
Okay,
moment,
yeah,
it's something that we can achieve.
exactly.
All right, so Monday night after the podcast, I think I mentioned like 3 or 4 different options, with the option most likely being playing the APBA football game. But I did not do that. I instead did start working in plot points for the overall series, the overarching plot of the series, all 9 books. Where does the midpoint go? I didn't fill in a lot of stuff. It's a good start, but I did kind of put, where does each part of a 27 act kind of story, where does it go within those 9 books? So I have a Google document started with those things in them, and I'll keep adding to that as I go.
Are you working off a template of some kind for the overall arc, or you just
I'm
kind of coming up with it on your own?
Well, I'm trying to use the same template that Super Editor C gave me for one book. So like,
Okay.
27% of the way in or whatever, 38%, whatever it is, pinch point 1, obviously midpoint at 50%. I'm trying to do that same thing and try to fit things in there.
Okay.
Now it's not going to be exact, but the midpoint of the series would be the midpoint of book 4, if my math is correct. So I'm not sure how I can mix a midpoint for 2 different stories at the same time. So that could be a little bit before, a little bit after, that kind of thing.
Oh, that'd be cool though if you did.
Well, now I'm going to try to think about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, have the mid. So book 4 is the one I'm writing right now, and the midpoint is someone gets arrested that shouldn't get arrested, and maybe that person that gets arrested could also be part of the overarching plot. Okay, we're gonna I'll have to talk this out. This is good.
So within the James Scott Bell schematic that he uses for stories, that midpoint is always the mirror moment when the protagonist looks at himself and realizes that they have to change in order to get any progress on where they want to go. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out for you when you do that.
Yeah, let me write down the phrase mirror moment, because I know you've said it before and I always forget it. And that would make sense to try to make something happen in that book that also can kind of go along with the overarching plot. Because a lot of times you read stuff or you watch stuff on TV, there'll be a subplot that goes along with the main plot, but yet they always fit together in the end. Seinfeld was famous for that. So I think that if you could do the same thing with these books, where really the subplot of the overarching plot is each individual book, is kind of the subplot. So if I can kind of not necessarily mirror, although I like that phrase at the halfway point, but also kind of work them in so they fit together. The theme of each book has to do with maybe where my character is in the overarching plot, that kind of thing. So
Right. And how hard could it be, since Seinfeld was a show about nothing? I mean, it should be easy.
Yeah, it definitely should be easy. Yeah. Good. Yeah. All right, so I did do that a little bit on Monday night. Nothing exciting, but I just wanted to get something started. I want to get something on paper that I could work off of. By paper, I mean Google Doc, that I could work off of. I can type stuff into and work from there. So Tuesday, let's see. This is not writing related, but at work, I had been working on a program for about 2 months now, and it was time to deploy it. We were deploying it at 9:30 in the morning, which is right in the middle of our business day, but it only takes a couple minutes to deploy this, so it really didn't interrupt anything. But this is the kind of thing where you do it. I'm always nervous about moving code, but I felt good about this, and we did move it at 9:30, and really the rest of the day had no problems, no bugs, no nothing, no report. Yeah, it was amazing. It was pretty cool.
And people were actually using it.
Yes, we were able to check. Yeah, and our business analyst, she went in and tested it live after I moved it, and it seemed to be working okay for her too. So everything was good. At lunch, I wrote just a little under 900 words in chapter 8. I almost got the chapter finished. I just kind of ran out of time. And then after work, I drove over to golf, and I had a long wait between my getting there and then my tea time, almost an hour. So I finished reading that 9 Lives book by Peter Swanson, the one I think I talked about last week. And I'm going to spoil this. I don't know if you plan on reading or not, but I'm going to spoil this. So like fast forward like 30 seconds if you don't want to hear it. All right, 1, 2, 3. Here comes the spoiler. He essentially rewrote "And Then There Were None" or 10 Little Indians. Agatha Christie. I really enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. He did something. Remember when I said last week that there was a character that was killed off? He did something with her that surprised me, that I was very happy about. And then he literally wrote "And Then There Were None." It kind of changed a few things around, but I actually really enjoyed it. And as close as it was to "And Then There Were None," my favorite book of all time, I still really enjoyed it. Like, I really like the way he wrote it, and I'm looking forward most likely to reading his next one once I get ready to start reading again. Yeah, it was really good. So I would definitely recommend that. Hopefully the 30 seconds are up. So I would definitely recommend this 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. I really enjoyed it. I'll just say, if you didn't listen to the spoiler and you like Agatha Christie, you should go ahead and listen to it. We'll just kind of
Yeah, I may check out tomorrow when I go to the library to see if we've got it. Uh,
yeah.
because I'm in the market now for a new book. I just finished the one I was reading. So
Okay.
yeah.
There you go. Let's see. And then okay, so what I said here was it's been a while since I read a book where I was like, holy cow, I can't believe that happened, and I need to keep reading to see what happens. A lot because I've been using Audible more and more, and it's a different experience when you listen than
Right.
when you read. And I have to be honest, I really enjoyed the reading side of that, where I was reading it and I just got to keep reading and keep reading and keep reading. I didn't want to stop. I may have read a little bit while I was golfing, but we don't need to tell my teammate that because I lost like 13-7. But I did get it finished and it was really cool. So I've decided, I just made a snap decision that you can just say out loud but not actually follow unless you put the effort in. But I'm going to attempt to keep reading like I used to back in the day. I really do enjoy it, and I kind of forgot how much I liked it by reading this book. So I'm happy about that.
Cool.
I did golf. I shot a 47, which again, at that course, really happy about that too. And then so I started doing these APBA football dice game videos maybe a couple months ago actually, where I'm putting them up on YouTube. And there's this one guy, his name's Dave Gardner, he's in Boston, and he's the guy that I've been watching the most. He's kind of the one that got me back into playing the game because I started watching his videos and I enjoy watching his videos. I like how he set up his screen when he records. And that's when I kind of decided, based on him, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. He's got a couple thousand subscribers. He gets, 7, 8, 900 viewers on each video. Let's just see if I can do this and maybe I can get his attention. Well, on that Tuesday, I got a notification that he had started following me and that he had commented on one of my videos. So like, I'm just waiting now because he does the thing where he talks about all the new channels he's watching. So at some point I have a feeling that he's going to mention my channel. And I think that that's probably going to get me more viewers. And again, I'm doing fine. I mean, I've got, I'm getting like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which I think is cool. I think it's fun that people that I don't know are literally taking time to watch my hour and a half video, and give me likes and give me comments, all that fun stuff. So that was Tuesday that happened. I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, nice.
Wednesday, up early for work. This is my first 3-day work week. I did not mention this last week when I was telling you what I was going to be doing this week, but I could not write on this day. So I had my first 3-day work week, my first Wednesday where I'm going to sit down and write, and I couldn't write because work, the reason I started on that week is because work set up this backstage tour of the Cleveland Playhouse Square, where we could actually go behind the scenes and I really like Playhouse Square. I'm going to see Back to the Future, the musical, in a couple weeks up there. And we were able to get on one of the stages and kind of look around, and we had a tour guide tell us the history. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. So I was not able to write that day because it was during lunch.
Right.
So that was one of the 2 days when I couldn't get any words down. Thursday being the next day where, I will say in the evening, I did put another video up on my YouTube channel for the football game. I played that. Thursday, up again at 5 a.m., 3 straight days. Holy cow, I was tired. I used to do that 5 days a week. I never thought about it. That was my life. And now I'm going 3 days. And on Thursday, I'm dead tired. I'm just like, why am I doing this to myself? But, it's fine. And at lunch, I ended up having to edit chapter 1 of my book 4 so that I could read it to my writer's club that night. I did not want to do it while I was in one of my writing times, but that's when I ended up doing it. So I was very happy with it when I was done, especially the murder part. I did read it to them. They really liked it. They gave me some good advice about one of my characters and how his attitude needs to change. He needs to tone it down just a little bit during one of the scenes, which now that they say it, it kind of makes sense to me. So they liked the murder part. Also, they thought it was like more real than anything I had written before in terms of like an action scene. So, and they've heard me, I've read to them for the last 5 years. So they've heard a lot of stuff that I've read, and they said it was really good. I got home. Yep.
When you first started 6 years ago going to this writers club, was it already up and running, or is it something new that was starting, or what?
No, it was up and running. There were, Mallory, she works at the library, and at the time Jake, her boyfriend, did too. He doesn't anymore. He actually works in TV. Like, he's worked for CSI Hawaii, and he's worked for some other TV shows as kind of a behind the scenes person, just remotely. And so there were 3 or 4 other people in it. Dan who's still in it. He was in it then. And then I was the 4. Well, I wasn't. There was 2 other people in it that aren't in it anymore. And of the original 5 when I started. There's 4 of us still there. Now we have a girl named Michaela who is really good. She's writing like a Davy Jones Locker pirate type story, and it's really,
Mhm.
really good. Like she's a really good writer. And so it's really the 5 of us are like the core. And then over the past 6 or 7 years, we just have people come in and out. Some people stay for a few weeks, some people stay for a year, and then we don't see them again. But us, the core 5, has pretty much been there for a while.
So is this something that Mallory started, or
I don't know if it was
since
Mallory or one of the other originals. Her name is Sammy. She's the poet. I think she might be the one who started it because she started the
uh,
Facebook group and the
okay.
what's that chat program that I never use?
Uh,
I forget what it's called.
Chat program?
It's the thing that you use. What's the image AI image program from last year that we were using, or you were using more than I was?
A
Uh,
mid you're talking about Discord?
Discord, yeah. So she started a
Yeah,
Discord, which really doesn't get much action. But so I think Sammy's
right.
the one who started it. But I think Sammy worked at the library at the time too. So her and Mallory probably did it together. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you thinking
I
about doing
just
that?
asked. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe, well, I'm kind of going back and forth, either starting a writing group or starting a book club,
Hmm.
a mystery book club, one or the other. But yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about it.
Hmm. Yeah, Mallory does a really good job of like being the mom of the group, even though she's
Yeah.
15 years younger than me. Yeah, so she does a really good job. So all right, so Friday is now my first day off of 10 straight days off. Um, I knew I was going to go to the casino on this day. That's obviously the first place I'm going to go. And I knew when I got there, if I lost my first 100, I probably wasn't leaving, even though I had my 140 and bust rule. So I lost my first 100. Actually, I went in there and I had $20 in free play that I built up to like 55 without putting $1 into the machine. And, by 140 or bust, I should have left right there because I was up over 140. But it's my birthday. I wanted to stay. So, so I took that money to the machine that I really like and immediately lost it all. And then I went and got 100 more out, went to a different machine, built it up to like 165. So I was only down $35. But then I went to that same machine that took all my money before, and it started to take all my money again. And then with about $30 left, I hit a $420 spin, and then I spun it 3 or 4 more times, and I cashed out $404, which was up 198 for the trip.
Oh,
So
nice,
that was
nice
nice.
birthday. Yeah.
That was a nice birthday present. Then I was off to Chick-fil-A to write. I went to the bank first and deposited, but then I went to Chick-fil-A, and I probably sat for about a half an hour, 45 minutes, like responding to emails and Facebook and everything for my birthday because everybody's wishing me happy birthday. And I was texting with friends. A buddy of mine called me who I haven't talked to in a while. So, that was me sitting at Chick-fil-A for like 45 minutes, eating breakfast and just doing all that. And that, so I didn't get to do the writing when I got there, but I did after I got all through all that. I did end up writing 1,100 words. It's funny, I have chapters 7, 8, and 9 in progress, and I have chapters 18 and 19 in progress. So on Tuesday I worked on chapter, I believe it was 8 or 9, whatever I said. Well, on Saturday I worked on chapter 18, and then I started chapter 19. Added about 1,100 words to it. And then Chick-fil-A turned on their air conditioning, something I will never take for granted ever again. And it was right above my head, and I was like shivering, like it was so cold.
Yeah.
So I could not stay much longer. I would have had to like move seats. And I think the other seat that I like there also has air conditioning over top of it. So I wouldn't have been able to sit there either. So I left. I went to the DMV to get my license plates renewed. I did a little bit of summer clothes shopping. I bought some shorts and a couple of t-shirts. And then when I got home, I played the remainder of the football game I was playing. I did play it off camera because it was a blowout, and I didn't think anybody would watch that. And then I went to bed. So it was a long day. I did just about everything I enjoyed doing. The only thing I didn't do was golf, but I did get up the next morning at 5 a.m. to do that. So
The way you glossed over it, you almost made it seem like you can just walk into a DMV in your state
oh,
and get something done.
Rich, I walked in, I took a number. I hadn't even sat down yet. They called my number. I walked
Oh,
over. There was barely any conversations. I was in and out in less than 5 minutes. That's the
oh
first time.
man,
That's the first time.
yeah, that's unheard of.
I don't know if
Here
it's
you
because I
here you
good.
here you actually have to make appointments to do
Oh,
anything.
you have to make an
I know.
appointment?
Yeah, basically.
Oh. No, this was I think it might be the time. I went on a Friday at like 1:15. So after lunch maybe, and anybody who's
Oh, okay.
working probably has already gone, and people who went or off that day probably went in the morning.
Right.
So that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That was almost as good of a birthday present as winning $198. All right, so Saturday I was up early to golf. I played pretty well. I actually shot an 88. The goal is to always break 90, and I did. I finally got below 90. First time all year. I did not lose any balls, so I currently have 46 of the 48 Kirkland balls that my friend Brian, who listens to this podcast, gave me. Brian, I've actually gone now, I believe, 27 consecutive holes without losing a ball, which is exciting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I did something a little bit different for writing this. Instead of going to like the normal places, I went to a Buffalo Wild Wings. I went for two reasons. Number one, I wanted to watch the golf tournament that I'm actually watching right now, in front of me on TV. And I also I was in the mood for a buffalo chicken salad, and they actually have a really good one. So when I got there, I naturally ordered a triple cheeseburger instead. I don't know what, I just literally changed my mind on the spot. And I watched the tourney, and then finishing chapter 19. I added a little over 1,700 words for chapter 19. And then I played my football game last night and put a video up. And then while I was sitting here playing the football game, I thought, boy, it's hot back here, because it gets hot back in this room. And so I went over to my phone, kind of like if I'm just talking and you just see me doing this, it's because I'm typing on my phone. And I went to my air conditioner and I hit the button and turned it on. And then I finished playing the game and I went out to my couch and I'm sitting there. I can hear the air conditioning running. And then the air conditioner stopped and I got an email alert from my furnace, because my furnace emails me when it's unhappy. And it said blower motor fault. And I was like, well, that's not good. It's literally going to be above 90 for the next 5 days here. And it's 88 degrees right now outside. And I just, why do furnaces always seem to break on the weekend and just before the coldest time of the year or the warmest time of the year? It's so weird.
Yep.
I feel like, used car salesmen, they break something, so you have to keep coming back to them. I feel like that's what these furnace people do. So, so it's been interesting. But so I tried it again. I went downstairs and I kind of turned it off and turned it on as if it was a computer. That didn't make it work. But right when I went to bed, I turned it down to like 66, and I woke up an hour later and it was on. Like, it had come on. So I was able to sleep through the night pretty well, which was nice. But it came on one more time today. It hasn't come on since then, but I'll get.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, it's so what I did now. I have a service contract with them to come out every 6 months, and I got a text from them last week saying, hey, you need to call us so we can come out and do our 6-month service on your air conditioner. I hadn't done it yet, so it makes sense. He probably would have caught it. Who knows if I'd actually called him and had him come like on Friday when I was off all day.
Oh, well, now this makes perfect sense. They just screwed with your thing remotely.
They broke it. I didn't call them, so they broke it. I wouldn't put it past some. I wouldn't put it past some of these companies out there to do that. So Sunday
it's like the Sputnik virus. They just kind of inserted it into your system.
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Sunday I was up, so we got up early to golf, 6:56 tee time, and I kind of made a mistake when I was doing this tee time because it's Father's Day. And as Brian, the guy who runs the course we go to, said to me, Jerry, this is the Super Bowl. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, it's Father's Day. You have to get here early or you're going to be super busy. So we only played 9 holes. We went off the back 9 to skip everybody, or we would have been there for 5 hours, and neither of us wanted to do that. So we went off the back 9. We played 9 holes, played okay, not completely happy with it, but hit the ball pretty well. I got home around 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I called the furnace people, got their answering service, and said, hey, here's what's going on. Can you come out today? Which it's overtime, it's weekend. And he said, yeah, no problem. I'll come out and check it out. He goes, I think I know the problem. I'll see if we have a motor in the shop. And if we do, I'll just bring it with me and we can go ahead and get it changed today. He said, otherwise we'll have to just order it and I'll come out tomorrow. So naturally when he got here, he didn't have one. And he basically, again, he came upstairs and said, I'll be back here tomorrow as early as I can to fix it. Suck it up. And then I wanted to punch him in the face because he doesn't have to sleep in this weather. So after that, I went out to write. So something else. This morning, while I was sitting there waiting for the furnace guy, my TV was delivered, my brand spanking new 65-inch TV that I bought myself for my birthday. So that's very exciting. Yeah, don't get too excited.
Okay.
So after the furnace guy left, my dad brought it over, and my dad goes, I'm not real crazy about this giant gash in this box. We opened it up, and the entire side of it was smashed up. The screen was broke. So annoyed. So I returned it on Amazon. They'll refund me my money. And then I went to Best Buy and I bought 2 things. I bought a 65-inch TV and I bought a window air conditioner that I can use tonight in my bedroom. And it's on right now, cooling off that room. And so me and my dad came back over, and it was funny. My dad came back over and we hooked it up. We did all that stuff. And when I say we, I say, he did a lot of the work on the air conditioner because that's who he is. I'm a TV guy, so I was good there. But he did
Yeah.
the air conditioner stuff. And then I was like, oh, by the way, and then I did this a couple of years ago. It makes me laugh every time. I bought him a card, but I just didn't take the time yet to like, sign it and stick it in the envelope and write dad on it. And then, sometimes I'll buy him like a 12 pack of beer or whatever because he likes that. And so instead, I just handed him the card with the envelope like flapped around it, not in the envelope. And I just said, here, write something funny on the inside of this, and then write your name on the outside. And I said, Happy Father's Day. And so what the card said, and I forgot about this, but what the card said was something to the effect of, hey, Dad, you're the one that taught me all that stuff when I was a kid about being a man. And then on the inside, it says, can you please repeat it? I wasn't listening. And then I realized that if you look at like the last hour of him doing all the work, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Complete sense. My 72-year-old dad was still doing all my work for me. It's wonderful. Yeah. So you wouldn't know he was 72 by looking at him. So he had just, he was still here when you sent me a note and said, we can go ahead and podcast. So that's why I said I needed about a half an hour because I knew he was getting ready to leave. But anyway, so I went to, so after the TV came and I did the return, I went to Best Buy. I also went to Hothead. Hothead has a new amazing thing now that I didn't know about. They actually have bacon bits and that you can put on your burrito. And I love bacon on burritos. It's so good. As I said on Snapchat earlier, I don't have any kids, but if I did, realizing that Hothead had bacon would still be the greatest moment of my life. So
whoa, what about a burrito that's entirely stuffed with bacon? That would be good.
A bacon sandwich. I like it.
Yeah.
I have to try that this week. I have time.
Bacon and cheese and grilled onions, maybe. That would be good.
Oh, no onions though. No onions.
Oh, you don't like onions? Oh.
No, gross. Onions bad. I saw a video on Instagram of someone who did a batch of like pancake mix. Then they dipped the bacon in and they made like bacon pancakes.
Oh,
I really want to try that.
Like bacon fritters, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to try that. I might try that this week because I have all kinds of time. But yeah, so I ended up writing about 1,600 words on chapters 9 and 10. So I'm going back and forth between like just before the midpoint and just after the midpoint as I'm writing to, I haven't written the midpoint yet. I'm leading to it from both sides. So I did that. And then I went to Best Buy, brought everything home. My dad came over, we put it all together, and there's an air conditioner upstairs in my bedroom that is on right now and the door is closed. So it's nice and chilly up there tonight because I can't sleep in heat. I just can't do it. I can sit down here in heat. It's fine. It's not the end of the world, but I can't sleep in heat. I will not sleep all night. So I got my TV off.
Is it cooling off at night up there or no?
No, like last night it did because it came on that one time. But when I
no, I mean the outside air. Is the outside air?
Oh. So last night it was like 50, but I don't know what's going to happen this week when it's going to be 90 every day. I don't know if it's going to go down to like 70 or if it's going to go any cooler. I'm just not sure.
Right.
But the first guy is coming tomorrow. He told me he was going to come back tomorrow. So hopefully that's true. And he shows up before noon and everything is okay.
Yeah. My sister texted me 3 or 4 days ago with a picture of their weather forecast and where she lives up there a little bit north of Detroit. They're predicting like 3 or 4 straight days of 100 degrees or more. So
wow,
it's going to be hot.
That much. Holy cow.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
And we're actually going to be down in the 80s for the next 3 or 4 days. So it's kind of weird.
Go south weather. For the summer. It's cooler down there apparently.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we got the TV hooked up. After the podcast is over and I get it posted, I have to sit and kind of rearrange all of my Roku menus and get all my apps downloaded, and that's just a pain. But I got to do that next. But I'm happy to have. I went from a 58-inch to a 65-inch. Now I have a 65-inch, and then above it I have a 50-inch hanging. So everything's back. Everything's right in the world again.
Yeah. Pretty soon you'll have that entire wall filled with TV. Although it might be getting close already.
When I was sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings yesterday, and there were I was just like, "This is what I want my living room to look like." And I have a TV upstairs. It's like a 32-inch that I don't use. I could hang it in the corner next to the other one. I know I could. Yeah.
Well, my week, I don't know what I did last Monday after we podcasted, probably read. But Tuesday, I was up to go to work. Monday, I had off last week. Tuesday, I was up to go to work. The computers finally came back on at the library. But since people had gotten used to them not working, there was very little traffic. So we didn't really have to do a whole lot with helping people with the computers. But it was still a pretty busy first part of the day. I was still working on those book displays I've been putting together and getting material together for the Excel class I'll be teaching this coming Thursday. I did get about a 2-hour break in the afternoon when I was working at the public desk, and there was just like literally nobody around for I don't really know why, but there's just nobody around. So instead of goofing off, which is what my tendency would be to do, I brought up my Scrivener, and because I had my laptop with me, and I wrote 2,104 new words Amelia
Nice.
one. So I was kind of happy with that. I actually did some writing at work, which has kind of been my goal here for the last few weeks, to figure out how to work that in. I took my dinner hour at 4 p.m. because that's the day that I work till 9. But I had to run out and get some sympathy cards because the canon pastor for our parish, who actually goes to our congregation as well, died unexpectedly last
Oh,
Sunday. And I got back to the library with about a half hour to spare before my lunch hour was up. But instead of going inside and writing and continuing like I probably should have, I just stayed in the truck with the air conditioning on and took a nap.
oh,
left
good
left the
idea.
truck running, just took a nap in a parking lot. The evening hours at home were pretty quiet, and I could have written then as well, but instead, I mean, not at home, but there at the library, the evening hours were pretty quiet. I could have written some more, but instead I gathered up books for a new display I've started. I don't remember if I mentioned it last week or not, but
Mm.
I'm going to title it Beautiful Covers, Wonderful Reads. So I'm going around the library, pulling books off the shelf that look really pretty, really nice covers, and putting them up there. And I'm going to see if really nice covers attract people to pick a book up and walk off with it and check it out to read. So I'm going to kind of test this idea that covers are what really sell the book.
Okay.
Uh, Wednesday, worked in the back room at the library on blurbs till about 11 o'clock for these new books I've been pulling off. And then I was out on the desk until 1, where I had my lunch hour. During that time, between 11 and 1, I managed to get about 821 new words in between helping patrons with whatever their problems were. And that was great, except it turned out to be the last words I had for the whole week, which
Oh,
was not great. The rest of the day I spent getting the news display out and working with the public. And then when I got home, I had dinner, and then I spent the evening reading uh, Hellbent, which I was trying to still finish. My wife and I are doing a summer reading challenge, and at the moment, she is just absolutely smoking me. She's read 5 books in June so far, and I'm still trying to finish my second. So I think this is a bad challenge to go head to head on her with. It's just not going to work out. Since she's home all day, she can read as much as she wants. Thursday, I spent the whole day doing odds and ends around the library, running down all the AV equipment I'm going to need for the Excel class. It's amazing the way that stuff gets scattered into the far reaches of the building. I also set up the classes that I'll be teaching in August, which I'm kind of looking forward to. I'm going to be teaching a class called Computers Without Fear, and then I'm going to teach a class, Introduction to the Internet, where basically I'm going to scare people straight about never using the internet.
nice.
uh, After dinner, I actually did finish Hellbent. So I finished 2 books so far in January, which was not too
Sure.
bad, I don't think, considering everything else I've been doing. Friday, which is part of my 3-day weekend that I had off, I spent the entire morning putting together a couple of wooden frames for new gates I'll be hanging on the driveway. The old ones that I had built 15 years ago probably have finally given up to weather and the sun and everything, and have kind of started to sag to a point where I really can't fix them, splitting and things like that. The wood is so. I got those put together, gave up around 1 o'clock when the temperature finally crested 90 degrees. I didn't want to replay of the previous week where I almost gave myself heat stroke by staying out there for an extra couple hours. And I had planned to write after I came in, but after eating and taking a shower, I fell asleep for 2 hours on the couch and didn't get any writing done. After dinner, I could have done writing too, but instead we played some board games until bedtime, which was fun in its own way. Saturday, it was a kind of a long, taxing day. I mentioned at the top of the show that the canon pastor for our diocese had passed away last Sunday, and I don't know why they rushed it so much, but they did. They had the funeral for him on yesterday, and I had to run the AV and do a bunch of other things. It was basically a long day there at the church building. The guy had a huge turnout, though. There was probably over 400 people
Wow.
that came through at the visitation. About 250 stayed for the actual mass. He was a really big guy. He was on one of those mobility scooters. He probably pushed 400 pounds, but he had a big heart and he touched a lot of lives. And I was thinking as I was sitting there looking at the big, huge big, huge crowd that was in the building that, at my funeral, I'd probably be lucky to get about 4 people, let alone 400 coming through. Uh, it's just, shows you the difference in the kind of lives people live and how many people they come in contact with, how many people they touch
Yeah.
during that time. And the bishop showed up. I didn't realize this, but apparently it's the bishop's responsibility, or one of the responsibilities, that he has to actually do funerals for every priest and deacon in the parish, so in the diocese actually. So uh, he must be going around doing funerals and stuff all the time.
It's so
Uh,
depressing. I feel sad.
yeah, he's kind of a jovial guy, though. If he had a big white beard, which he doesn't, he'd be like Santa Claus. So
Okay.
it would be, he takes it in stride.
All right.
This morning, so I didn't do anything yesterday in the evening. I just kind of chilled. This morning, there was regular church in the morning, and then we came home and picked, since it looks like it was going to rain, and it eventually did start raining. Before the rain, we picked 2 quarts of blueberries off our bushes. So we're going to have lots of blueberries with our cereal this week in the morning. After that, I got a call from my neighbor who always has surplus vegetables, and today she had surplus eggplant. So I went over there and bartered with her and traded eggplant for some elderflower cordial that I'd recently made. Every spring or late spring, when the elderberry bushes bloom, you take the elderberry flowers, you dunk them in a simple syrup, which is basically a super saturated uh, syrup with sugar and water, and then some lemon peels and stuff. You just let that soak on the counter for like 3-4 days, and it makes its own
Oh,
cordial. Yeah, and it's really good. It's really good. I use it as kind of sweeten up water during the summer when I'm outside working. And then I was putting together notes for the podcast, and then I took another nap, had a quick snack, and now we're recording. And afterwards, it's dinner, and I'm not sure what's going to happen after that, since I don't have a book to start. Well, I actually do have one that my wife just got done reading. She said I should probably read. So I may start that, or I may, punch around a little bit doing some writing. We'll see. So
it's funny.
overall, it was a good week, but just not a lot of words.
Yeah. It's funny. I've heard people talk about eggplant, for years, my whole life. Eggplant parmesan is the thing people talk about. I have no idea what it even is. I don't know what it looks like. Like, I couldn't tell you what an eggplant was. No idea.
If you go to the grocery store, and you see these big purple things sitting on there for sale, that's eggplant. So
They're not. They're not. I don't think I assumed they were radishes, or not. Definitely not beets. Maybe I assumed those were radishes.
yeah, no, but they're big.
Radishes are red.
Well,
Yeah.
there's Japanese varieties which are long and slender like a cucumber. They're generally still purple, but the traditional eggplant that you see, it's big and it's globular, and it's kind of like an overgrown grapefruit almost.
Oh, I had
Um,
no idea.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And they're by themselves, they don't really have a whole lot of flavor themselves. They do have a flavor, and it's distinctly an eggplant flavor, but nobody eats them like that. Basically, they're used in things like eggplant parmesan or
Mhm.
moussaka, or sometimes people will bread them and deep fry them and stuff, because they tend to take on the taste of whatever they're with.
Oh,
So they're great at soaking up sauces and stuff, because actually when you cut them, the inside's actually a little bit spongy. It's kind of like breadfruit. I don't know if you've ever seen breadfruit.
no.
Uh, yeah, so they soak up anything you put them with. So but they're good, and they're nutritious. And down here, at least in the summertime, it's about the only thing that'll give you anything out of the garden, because it's just so darn hot. As long as they get water, they'll keep on producing right through the hottest heat. So
Okay.
that's why people grow them.
All right. So we're gonna skip over your running list of things to do. We might as well skip over mine too. It's literally just a lot of plotting. You didn't have anything new on yours, right?
No.
Okay. In terms of my addicted to, it's still watching the Equinox EV videos. I'm really interested in this. There's like a greater than zero chance that I actually don't wait for the 1LT to come out, because I saw some comparisons of the difference between the 1LT and the 2LT, and I actually like the stuff the 2LT has, in terms of like power trunk and power seats. And I hope it's more than that, because $7,000 is a big difference for just a couple of
Right.
those tiny little items. So I'm still interested. The 2LT, after all of the credit and the trade and all that stuff, would still be about 25 grand for me, which is, I could pay that off in a year, so that's not a big deal. I won't be doing it tomorrow. I won't be doing it next week. This is a long thing, because I still have to have a charger installed in my house. I wouldn't do it before I had a charger installed in my house, because I need to be able to charge overnight. So, but I'm still watching the videos. I'm enjoying the videos. People seem to like them. There's not a lot of people saying anything bad about them. But of course, I could be in the the I like them echo chamber, and I'm not watching the bad ones. Who
Right,
knows?
right,
Which is
right.
possible because it's the internet and that's what happens. But yeah, that's kind of my addicted to this. I don't know what it's going to be this week. I'm kind of looking forward to it with me being off all week. What I'm going to do or watch more of anything else. I don't know what it could possibly be.
Right. Yeah, it's not like back in the days where you could do a search on the internet and be halfway sure that you would get a smattering of everybody's opinions on the
Right.
search results. Now, the first thing you click on, the AIs behind the scene are going to say, "Oh, he wants to see positive results or positive videos on the equinox," and that keep on serving those up to you
Right.
instead.
Exactly. Yeah.
My addicted to, I've decided, and this is going to be an addicted to that's going to last for a long time, is walking, because I started keeping track of the steps I got while I was on the job. I may have mentioned this before, but I've been at the library now for 6 weeks, and I've just crested over 80 miles walked in 6 weeks.
Wow.
So I'm gonna keep on keeping track of this walking. I'll keep on doing the walking. I try to get at least 6,000 steps at the library. If I don't get them, I go for a little walk when I get home. But most days I get between 7 and 10,000 steps just by working at the library.
Nice.
And I'm going to see. I don't know how long I'll be working there, but I'm going to see how far I can go. I wonder if I could actually walk across the United States
Yeah.
while I'm
Right.
while I'm taking while I'm at this job. That'd be
Oh,
really
that's great.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. In terms of my week coming up, as I said, this is a work. I'm off work all week. I do not have to go into any work. I remember talking to my project manager last week, and he's off also this week. And he told me that one of the things he's going to do and that I should also do is completely disconnect. I thought he meant from the internet. I wanted to say, "What are you talking about?" And he actually, no, from work. Don't worry about work. Don't log in. Don't look at your email. You're good. We're good. Just, and I'm like, that's a great idea. That's great advice. I'm going to take that advice. So I will not be doing anything
Yes,
work related
definitely.
this week, unless there's like some super error that only I can fix, which I don't believe that's a thing. So
Yeah.
it's also going to be in the 90s here all week, and I have at least 2 golf days planned. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Wednesday and Thursday, most likely. Um, Tomorrow, Monday, I have nothing planned writing wise. I have to be at home most of the day because 2 things are happening. Number one, the furnace guy should be back at some point to fix the air conditioner, and everything will be better again in my house because it's hot in here right now. And also, I have to put that TV that I'm returning outside, and Amazon said they'll be here to pick it up from 10 to 8. So they gave me like the cable air hours. We'll be there from 8 to 12 or 1 to 4 or 1 to 5, whatever. They said 10 p.m. or as they put it on their website, 10 to 20, which is I've been saying all day. So so hopefully they come early and it's gone, but I'm not going to leave it on my porch and then leave because I don't want somebody to
Right.
steal it, which I don't think anybody would anyway. But you never know in this town. So I'll be here most of the day. I don't really have any writing plans. It could happen. I could be sitting back here and just think, well, I'll write a chapter, or I could just play my APBA football game all day, or I could just watch YouTube all day. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? But I have no plans to do any writing. Um,
So you gonna
to
put it on your front porch and then leave the door open so that Max could keep an eye on it for you, or
That's
what?
probably a good idea, actually. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he would keep that eye. Oh, did somebody get a hole in one? Oh no, just missed it. That's funny. So then Tuesday I have nothing planned, but I will write. So the rest of the week I will write every day. I do have my golf league in the evening, but I'm trying to get out of that. I'm looking for a sub. Make sure that since I do the schedule and I run all that stuff, I should be able to just take the week off if I want to. But I still want to make sure the league is healthy and it's not like I don't want to have some team there that's not playing against anyone. We've set it up where you can play against one person. It can be 2-on-1 and it still counts for everyone. But
Right.
we can't have 2-on-0. So I'll make sure that we have subs. And if so, I'll probably take Tuesday night off and I won't golf. Wednesday, I have a tea time around. I think it's at 10:30 with a buddy of mine up in Cleveland, and I'll try to get some words written after that. And then Thursday, he's going to come down here close to me, and we'll golf down here at a course down here, and then I'll try to write after that. And then Friday, I have no plans. He wanted to golf 3 days, but I told him I only want to golf 2. I want to write. There's some other stuff I want to do around the house. So Friday, I have nothing planned. I'll write at some point. I'll probably go in the morning to write. I'll probably go to the casino also, and just make it like a weekend day basically.
Mhm.
Saturday and Sunday I'll golf in the morning like I normally do, and then I'll write afterward, and then we'll podcast on Sunday. I've upped my goal a little bit to 7,500 words because I have all these days off. It's really more because I'm not writing on an hour and a half lunch break or an hour lunch break. It's I can go there and sit for 2.5 hours if I want to. So I'm going to push that number up to 7,500 and see how far I can get with it.
Yep, sounds good. My week's going to be a little bit weird. I work Monday and Tuesday, Tuesday being my long day till 9 p.m. Wednesday I have off for Juneteenth, and then I work Thursday through Saturday. So I'm going to work 5 days this week. It's just going to be broken up by a day off on Wednesday. I'm going to try to get at least 1,200 words each of the days I'm at the library, which may be pushing it, given that I still have to prepare some stuff for this Excel class on Thursday. But I'm going to give it the old college try there. If I do that, I can take a rerun on the weekly goal of 6,000 words. So I'm going to leave that there as a goal for this week as well. On my day off on Wednesday, I may or may not get some writing done. It just depends on how it goes, hanging those gate frames. Because once I get them hung, get them all, make sure they're all squared up and everything, then I have to put all the fence boards on them. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna hopefully be able to get some writing in this week, without too much trouble. I really don't have a whole lot to share. I did forget to mention last week that I started a mystery writing class this week that's offered through this group called Gale Courses. That I'm not exactly sure. They offer a lot of business courses and stuff like that, but they have a huge course catalog. And that's something we get access to for free through the library. Every library patron can get access to it. The library picks up the tab. The thing is pretty in depth. It lasts 6 weeks. There's 2 extensive lessons each week. This is all asynchronous, so you don't have to actually be on there at any particular time to do it. And I really haven't looked at it. A lesson dropped this past Wednesday and on Friday, and I haven't looked at either of them. And I have to, because they've actually got time limits on the stuff. You have to get it done. The assignments and whatever tests and stuff there are, you have to get them in. And if you fall more than 2 weeks behind, they just boot you from the class.
Okay.
But once I get into it, I'll report on it and tell you what it's all about and how it is, because I think most libraries subscribe to the Gale course thing, because they use it as part of their educational outreach component, and they really target libraries. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, look forward
It'll
to
be
hearing
interesting.
About it.
How's yours? How's yours going, by the way? You're still doing that, right?
I'm still doing it. I'm behind, but I let myself get behind 3 or 4 weeks, and I just do it all at once because it's easier that way.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm gonna go back to it for a second year. I was pretty excited about it when I signed up for it, but I don't know. I'm not getting the feedback that I thought I would get. I know when he did the YouTube last year in like November, the thing that got me to sign up, he talked about how they weren't given enough feedback to the students, and the students were basically just doing the lessons and then walking away thinking they didn't learn anything. And that's kind of like where I am right now. Now, maybe it's partly my fault because I don't get into the message boards. I don't attend his webinars because he does it during the work day, and I don't know if they're recorded or not. I don't remember seeing them recorded. So they might be, and I just don't know it. But and his YouTube channel is actually really good. Like, his YouTube channel is a lot of snippets of the courses. Now, it's not in depth like the course, but but I do like his YouTube channel a lot. So I don't know if I'm gonna go back for a second year. I mean, there's a chance I don't even finish this year. We'll see. I'm just, I'm not getting out of. I really thought there was gonna be more back and forth with the actual professor, the teachers, but there's not. There's not what I expected. They hand you a link that has 2 or 3 videos on it. They give you examples, then they give you questions. You go in and do the homework. And on a couple of them, there's going to be like answer keys. But, writing is objective. No, is that the word I'm looking for? Writing, you can't just write something and look at an answer key and know if you got it right or not. You need somebody else, a human, to actually look at it and tell you. And I'm just not getting that. Right. And again, maybe it's my fault. I don't know. But I feel like, there should be more back and forth with the teacher, especially for the amount of money it was. So I doubt I'm going to go into, unless something changes, I'm not going to go into year 2. And I don't even know if I'm going to finish year 1. We'll see, but I am still doing it.
Yeah. And I don't know how much feedback I'll be getting in this mystery class that I'm going to be taking. But since it's free, I can't complain too much.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. I don't have anything to share, but I did forget to mention on Saturday, I was driving home from golf and I really needed something to listen to. I didn't have any good podcasts. I didn't have any good, I didn't have anything on Audible yet. So I opened up Audible and I found Sophie Hannah's next Perot book. And there was a big website wide, or whatever you call it, Audible wide sale, where it was only $11 for the Audible. I don't know what they normally cost, but I think they're considerably more than that. Aren't they like $16, $17?
I think like, well, it might be more than that, because I think the on Libra FM, I think it's like 20 some dollars
Yeah.
a title,
So
something like that. Yeah.
instead of using my credit on, I actually just bought it for $11. So I still have
Mhm.
my credit, which I'll probably use on a true crime thing. But I started listening to the Perot yesterday. It's about is it 8 hours long or is it 12 hours? I think it's eight, a little over eight. Maybe it's just under 9 hours long. It's a short one, I guess. And I really like the story that she's created so far in terms of the mystery, because there's like this mystery that we learned about at the beginning, but before we get to that, there's another mystery going on. And I think
Okay.
if it's anything like anything you've ever read, or again, like I said earlier, I'm sure they're going to connect up in the end somehow. And they're so
Right.
different that I'm curious to see how they connect up. So I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't remember what it's called. Something about murders at King's something or other hills. It's the fourth one in the Perot series by Sophie Hannah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, after you're talking last week or the week before about the Sophie Hannah books and how you were enjoying them, I actually made a recommendation to a patron this past week
Oh,
that, because she was checking out some Agatha Christie's, and I said, well, when you get done with those, did you know that they're writing new ones? And so check out Sophie Hannah. I don't know if she did or not, but
it's funny. I've been saying that like Agatha Christie was a genius because she wrote a Perot book and said, "Don't publish it until my death." And they
mm,
published it in like 1975, which pushes the public domain for Hercule Poirot to I assume 100 years after 1975. But because Sophie Hannah is now writing them, doesn't that push it out farther?
well, the copyrights are on the actual books themselves. So
Okay.
it's not, you can't copyright a character.
Oh, I thought
She
it was the
may have
character. Okay.
no, she may have trademarked the character. And I'm not sure what the length on a trademark is. I think it's
Okay.
considerably shorter than copyright though, but I'm not sure. That's interesting. I'll have to
Yeah.
look that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, that is that's what I really had to share. It's just I got the next one and I'm enjoying it so far.
Well, good.
All right.
Good.
So that's gonna do it for the podcast this week. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'm done.
All right. So if you want to get a hold of me, email me, jerry@jerryevanoff.com. The website is jerryevanoff.com. This podcast is also on YouTube, youtube.com/@newauthorpodcast. If you're watching on YouTube, we also are on audio. There's a big long
Yeah.
address in the show notes that you can click if you want to listen to the audio, or you can just search New Author Podcast on your podcasting device. And then we're on Patreon, patreon.com/newauthorpodcast. I'm gonna try to get that fifth video up. I want to start doing some more plotting, not just the last video for this book I'm writing, but also book 5, and then also for the overarching stuff. I might do some
Hmm.
videos on that too. So go to Patreon, patreon.com/newauthorpodcast. Sign up. You don't even have to put any money down. Just sign up. You can be alerted when new stuff goes up, and then it might go up behind $1 paywall, but we'll see. Yeah, so that's how you can get in touch with us.
Yeah, my email address is rich@richcasey.com. You can find me on all the social medias except X/Twitter, and my handle there is Kacy himself. And if you're interested in the stories I'm writing on Vella, while they're still there, you can check them out at richcasey.com.
All right, everyone, thanks for listening this week, and we'll be back next week.
Take care and keep cool.
Yeah, see ya.